Good evening. My name is Taylor Kingman. I'm the president of the Board of Trustees of the San Angelo Independent School District, and I would like to welcome all of you who are present at tonight's regular board meeting. I also welcome those of you who are watching the recording of this meeting online or on our public access channel. We appreciate your interest in the activities of our students and the business of SAISD. All items that will be discussed at our meeting this evening have been posted as required by state law. Also, as you may be aware, our board meets a minimum of 2 times per month, and most, if not all, items on our agenda this evening have been previously discussed at our earlier pre-agenda board workshop. As a member of SAISD Board of Trustees, we are here to set goals, listen to reports from our superintendent, approve budgets, contracts, and personnel appointments, and to make policy for the district. Please keep in mind that our meeting is a meeting of the Board of Trustees held in public and not a meeting of the public. However, we have a public comment item on every one of our meeting agendas that allows anyone present who wishes to speak to our board team on an item not on our action agenda or an action item on the agenda an opportunity to do so. Please provide your name and contact information and the specific topic you wish to address on a public comment form located at the back of the room prior to the start of tonight's meeting, should you want to speak on an issue not on our action agenda. Please listen carefully and comply with the following rules so that we can move through this part of the meeting efficiently. Each speaker will be given a total of 3 minutes. The district will provide an official timekeeper. The district's timekeeper will report and record the time. You will be notified when your time is up. Please respect the privacy of others and refrain from identifying students, employees, or other community members by name. Disruption of the meeting will not be tolerated at any time, and comments on any subject, whether positive or negative, must be courteous and respectful. Comments are limited to the specific topic you indicated on the form you filled out. Any speaker with a specific complaint about a district employee, decision, or operational issue should present that complaint through the appropriate mechanism, which is the district's formal grievance process. Speakers with a specific complaint will be referred to district administration for information about the grievance process. If you already have a pending grievance being processed by the district, you will not be permitted to speak about that grievance during public comment. Also, please understand, if you speak to us on an item not on our action agenda, that the board cannot reply to you except to thank you for your comments since the matter has not been posted for discussion. In compliance with state law, these proceedings are recorded and will become part of SAISD's permanent legal record. In order that the recording will adequately reflect the proceedings, I ask that you please refrain from talking while others are speaking. I also ask, as I remind my fellow board members, to please turn off or silence your cell phones. Again, thank you for being here and for your support of SAISD. That being said, we have a quorum. All 7 of us are here this evening. And we're going to start with an invocation from Dr. Kevin Huddleston, Director of Ministries for Arms of Hope.
Good evening. This weekend I got to watch the eclipse with my grandsons in another district, not here in San Angelo. But between the eclipse and trampoline and football, they told me about school. And they reminded me once again of how important this is, a job you do, and the job our teachers, our parents, everyone does. So thank you for your time. Let's pray. Holy God, we praise you for your unending love and kindness. In your wisdom, you determined from the beginning that humanity should live in community. You declared that it was not good for us to be alone. But instead, you created us to be together, to live in communion with you and with one another, to see the other not as an enemy, but as a partner, to imagine together a new creation where joy overcomes despair, peace reigns over chaos, and love triumphs over hate. God of creation, we see so many places in our world where this is not the case. There is so much darkness, division, and fear. Families are overwhelmed with anxiety. War continues to encroach on all levels. Hate is expressed in words and in actions. God, I pray that here in this place, even tonight, that we will choose another way. I pray that San Angelo will do better. that those of us in this room will commit to seeing one another as partners and not enemies. I pray that we will lay aside the hateful rhetoric of accusation, blame, and anger, that we will seek what is best for our children, for all children, that we will lay a foundation of faith, hope, and love, not only for this generation, but for generations to come. Help us to once again see the world through the eyes of our children, eyes that see beauty, mystery, and wonder. Help us to hear with the ears of our children, ears that hear joy and laughter and hope. Help us to have the hands of our children, hands that are eager to join with others, to encourage, to help when someone stumbles, to serve when someone is in need. We thank you for all those that are gathered and those who help make SAISD work. We pray blessings on the Board of Trustees, the administrators, the teachers, and all of their families. We thank you for the community members, parents, and students. May we all work together to be the kind of people that you have called us to be. We pray all of this in the name of the one who makes us one. Amen.
Thank you, Dr. Cuddleston. We're now going to have our Pledge of Allegiances to the United States and Texas. We have some students from Bowie Elementary here this evening. We have Ryan Parker, Seth Saldivar, Aubrey Fox, and Colton Mears. If you all come up, if everyone will stand for their pledges. Thank you all. And if parents, if y'all want to take pictures. Thank you, Bowie Elementary. Thank you, parents, for getting them here. All right, we're now going to move forward with our agenda. We have some recognitions, several recognitions tonight based on the number of parents and kids here. We're going to start with recognition of our National Recognition Program honorees.
So if you're a College Board or a National Merit semifinalist, will you please come up to the front and line up in front of the board? Thank you. Good evening, Dr. Kingman, Dr. Detloff, and distinguished members of the board. Tonight, we have the honor of recognizing outstanding Central High School and Lakeview High School students for their honors from the College Board and National Merit Scholarship Corporation for demonstrating outstanding academic achievement. The College Board's 4 national recognition programs, National African American Recognition Program, National Hispanic Recognition Program, National Indigenous Recognition Program, and National Rural and Small Town Recognition Program, award academic honors to underrepresented students in each of these categories. These students have demonstrated high academic achievement and exceptional performance on College Board administered exams, such as the PSAT, the SAT, and advanced placement exams. San Angelo ISD is proud to have 28 students receive these recognitions. As I call your names, please wave and step forward so we can recognize you. And if the audience would please hold your applause until the end, we'd appreciate that. So congratulations to our National Hispanic Recognition Award honorees, Alex Sanchez, Anna Boney, Ariana Aguilar, Aiden Lopez, Camila Barrera, Gabrielle Alvarado, Gabrielle Flores, Hayden Cogner, Ian Cortez, Grace Valdez, Jasmine Hodal, Hayden Willa, John Elianzo, Jocelyn Sanchez, Juan Garcia, Kasaya Martinez, Lindsay Leyba, Marissa Lopez, Natalia Salcedo, Raquel Peets, Rowan Zach, and Zaylee Flores. Congratulations to our national African American Recognition Award honorees, Austin Colvin, Eric Kassler-Tate, Jace Jackson, Jasmine Myers, and Tiana Saparipa. Excuse me, thank you. That was a hard one. And then congratulations to the National Indigenous Award honoree, Bailey Stenson. Finally, we proudly congratulate and celebrate Central High School senior Robert Wu for being named a National Merit semifinalist by the National Merit Scholarship Corporation. Robert is one of 16,000 high school seniors nationwide who have the opportunity to compete for over 7,000 National Merit Scholarships and the title of National Merit Scholar. The nationwide pool of semifinalists represents less than 1% of high school seniors, includes the highest scoring preliminary SAT and National Merit Scholarship qualifying test scores in each state. What outstanding honors from all of these students. If you'd please join me in another round of applause for them. Dr. Detloff, would you please join the group for a photo?
Y'all stay put so the parents can get pictures too. And parents, y'all are welcome to come up and get pictures. You don't have to do it from back there.
Y'all get in the middle. Get comfortable.
Yeah, parents, don't be bashful. We're going to make them stay here till everybody gets the picture they want. You guys come up and get the picture you want. That's what we want. That's what we're here. Make sure you scoot over so your mother can see your face, okay? It's important.
All right, everyone get their pictures? We can make them stand here a little bit longer. No? All right, thank y'all. And if y'all will come around so the board can shake your hands, we'd appreciate it.
Marching band comes in handy.
Lining up.
Form formations, get the half circle.
Thank you.
Congratulations, wonderful job. Congratulations, super proud of you guys.
Good job. Way to go. Good job.
Awesome job.
Congratulations.
Awesome job. Congratulations. Congratulations. Awesome job. Congratulations. Super proud of you.
Good job.
Good job. Congratulations. Congratulations. Great job.
Good job, sir.
Awesome job. Congratulations. Super proud of you all. Thank you. Congratulations. Congratulations. We're super proud of you guys. Congratulations.
Don't take it with you.
I do that all the time. Congratulations. Thank you.
I need to move it, yeah. Yeah, I need to move it out of the way.
All right, as they're all cycling through here, we're going to go ahead and continue with recognitions. We have recognition of fire prevention poster contest winners. Give them a second.
Yeah, I was saying statistically, it's harder to become a national merit semifinalist than it is to play college football. Statistically. Yeah, it's like 18,000 play college football a year, and there's 16,000. So it's harder than playing college football. It's not easy.
Good evening, Dr. Kingman, Dr. Detloff, and members of the board. As you entered the admin building this evening, you may have been greeted by some beautiful artwork. Tonight, we are celebrating our young artists by recognizing our San Angelo ISD Fire Prevention Poster Contest winners. These students help their campus communicate important information about actions they can take to stay safe during a fire emergency through artwork. We are so proud of each of you, as are your teachers, principals, and family members. We will start by announcing our third grade winners, followed by fourth and fifth grade. When I call your name, please come forward and remain standing and facing the audience for a group photo with your grade level. Okay, from third grade, our poster winners are fourth place, Ava Lavis from Fort Concho Elementary. Third place, Kenley Ortiz from Fort Concho Elementary. Second place, Addison Harper from Fort Concho Elementary. First place, Aveline Lozano Gassett from Santa Rita Elementary. Our third grade poster winners.
Same deal, parents, you can come up and get pictures. You don't have to stay back there.
All right, fourth grade. All right, from fourth grade, our poster winners are fourth place, Joy Allen from Santa Rita Elementary. Do you want a big group picture? Okay. Third place, Ariel Coleman from Holloman Elementary. Second place, Serenity Harrell from Bonham Elementary. And first place, Sylvia Eckel Dalrymple from Fort Concho Elementary. Okay. Should I read you the fifth grade right now? Okay. From fifth grade, our poster winners are...
Wait 1 second. Let's let all the parents get the pictures first.
Sorry. I apologize. All right, from fifth grade, our poster winners are fourth place, Rico Tovar from Santa Rita Elementary. Third place, Hannah Forrest from Bonham Elementary. Second place, Aiden Aguilar from Bonham Elementary. And first place, Yesiah Kalamufani from Bonham Elementary. Congratulations and keep up the hard work. We also appreciate the San Angelo Fire Prevention Office and Fire Inspector Chris Christian for bringing us this wonderful contest and campaign to educate our students and families, and for all you do to keep us safe every day. Good job, students. Congratulations.
Did he teach?
Yeah, he coached. But I mean, that's all, you know.
Same concept.
Oh, I messed them.
Congratulations, way to go.
Super proud.
Good job, way to go. Congratulations. Good job.
Thank you so much.
Great job, guys. Great job. Good job.
Absolutely.
Congratulations, Sam.
Congratulations.
Way to go.
Awesome.
Congrats.
Well, I got to announce on this one. I'm going to have y'all shake hands. I'm going to give it a little
Very
spill.
good art skills.
We'll have Carl laugh. Some of our supervisors
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, we did. We went both sides there. Yeah. I've
I
been
want you to be the
neither
shaker, the last shaker.
Actually, that little girl, the one that I was taking my picture with, she's amazing.
Smart.
She's one of those super kids.
Dr. Self, Dr. Skelton, Mr. Collenbach, if y'all could also come up. It's okay, you don't have to say anything, so I just need your physical presence. Why not? All right. This is like a award ceremony. Okay, so I'm like going to pass, shake, stop. Okay. All right, principals, this is the reverse. So normally you're doing award ceremonies, but now we're doing your award ceremony. So it's a like pop quiz because I'm going in alphabetical order. So I don't know how quickly y'all can alphabetize yourselves. It's okay if you cannot. But just so you know, that's the order in which I'm using. Reverse order. By last name. I'm a former first grade teacher. We love ABC order. It's a standard. All right, it's totally okay because I will call your name. I think those fire prevention poster winners also, they were quick and efficient. All right, I think we're ready. So Dr. Kingman, Dr. Detloff, and members of the board, we are honored this evening to recognize our campus principals for National Principals Month. They lead for their students, families, staff, and school learning communities. To be a school principal, it requires both bold and brave leadership They are relationship builders and often make sacrifices to miss their own personal family events to be there for those they serve. Leadership is not a position or a title. It is action and example. Each of these principals lead by example through their daily actions. We hope you've been able to get to know a little more about each of them from our social media post about me shared by our communications team. Thank you, SAISD principals, for your dedication and willingness to ensure San Angelo ISD is the best place to be. So as I call your name, if you will please come get your certificate of appreciation. We do have two of our principals this evening that are not able to be with us. They are representing San Angelo ISD at our Principal Institute, so they are out for learning. And we had some campuses with prior events who are not able to be in attendance this evening. We do ask our crowd, as we've done our other recognitions this evening, if you will please hold your applause until we get through all names, and we'll give one round of applause at the very end. So first up, we have Miss Claudia Becerra, Principal of Carver and Coordinator of PAYS. Next, Miss Michelle Beers, Principal, San Jacinto Elementary. Next, Miss Bertha Sepulveda, Principal of Bradford Elementary. Next up, Mr. Colton Curtis, Principal of McGill Elementary. Next up, Miss Laura Eubank, Principal, Bel Air Elementary. Next up, Dana Feltz, Principal, Fannin Elementary. Becca Flores, Principal of Goliad Elementary. Mr. Joe Gondar, Principal of Lincoln Middle School. Miss Ashley Gould, Principal of Bowie Elementary. Miss Terry Gould, Principal of Glenmore Elementary. Mrs. Patricia Hartman, Principal of Reagan Elementary. Miss Lori Herndon, Principal of Altaloma Elementary. Mr. Clayton Hubbard, Principal of Glenn Middle School. Miss April Johnson, Principal of Austin Elementary. Miss Shannon Claypack, Principal of Lamar Elementary. Dr. Amy Lamaster, Principal of Lone Star Middle School. Mr. Zachary Ramirez, Principal of Lakeview High School. Please note it is a Spirit Day at Lakeview High School. We told Mr. Ramirez to keep on his Ranger jersey. We need that winning spirit to carry on. Miss Jill Ross, Principal of Central High School. And last but certainly not least, Mrs. Kay Scott, Principal of Santa Rita Elementary. Now, if you will please join me in recognizing our SAISD principals. Before we take one group picture and we have all your parents and family come up and take photos too, we'd like to also recognize our community partners, Gandy Inc., for their kind donation of the backpacks they gave each one of our campus principals that were also filled with supplies. So, in true, genuine appreciation, we thank you for the hard work you do each and every day to lift up the hopes and dreams of the students and families on your campuses. Another big round of applause before we take a picture. Okay, now it's like class photo day. Y'all do this often, twice a year to be exact. One group photo. Campus supervisors, if y'all will jump in and join this photo with these principals and Dr. Detloff. Don't worry, family members, we will let y'all come up as well. After all photos, you guys will also shake hands. Wait till the final photo. And Ms. Hartman, you'll start us in the handshake.
Thank you. Thanks for all y'all do. Thank you. Thanks for all y'all do. Thank you. Congrats.
How are you in sport?
Everything. Thanks for all do. How's it going?
Yes, we're waiting for a transcript. Thank you for everything you guys do.
Thanks for all y'all do. For all y'all do. Appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Thank y'all for everything you guys do. Hey, thank you.
All right, that concludes our recognition. So thank you for everyone for being here. Appreciate y'all. Principals, thank y'all for being here as well. All right, we're gonna move forward with our minutes. We have our minutes from September 11th, 2023 pre-agenda workshop. Our minutes from our September 14th, 2023 search firm workshop, and our September 25th regular board meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes as outlined?
Move for approval?
Second.
So I have a motion from Mr. Dindal and a second from Mr. Gallegos. Any board comment? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against, say the same. Motion passes 7-0. All right, now we have public comments for topics not on the agenda of this meeting. We have one person who signed up, and just future reference, if you can try and get here before the meeting so it runs efficiently, I appreciate it. I couldn't get in the door. Fair enough. We have Mr. Pachetti on the topic of leadership and accountability.
Hello, my name is Virgil Pacetti, concerned father. As you've known, for the last couple of years, I've been advocating for my son. I had a couple of things I was going to talk about today, but then I actually I got to see it happen in front of me. So I'm guessing y'all had a program where y'all were doing fire escape plans, and you start looking for outliers, statistics. And it seemed like Fort Concho had a very high representation in that. And when I'm thinking, why would that be? And I was like, well, maybe it's because at our school we have a morning greeter club. So our kids get to stand outside and open the doors. And we have like one other club. But if you look at Santa Rita's club, they actually have computer-aided design. So they're doing CAD drawings over there. And so that might be why they're ahead of the other kids, is because they've actually have a computer, which we don't in our STEM lab, and they're able to do computer-aided design while we're out teaching our kids how to be Walmart greeters. So when you do give the kids the tools necessary to achieve things above and beyond, you get those results. So it does work. Fort Concho did well. Those kids made great posters. Now, why can't we do that for the rest of the schools? Why can't we have computer-aided design at the other schools? Why is it only at one? And we speak about leadership. We need leadership. We need y'all to go in there and figure out why there's this huge inequality. Why would we teach one kid how to open a door in the morning and say, step to the side so you don't get run over, and then we have other kids literally doing CAD drawings? And y'all are perfectly okay with that because y'all don't do anything different. And then I see how y'all act after the meetings. Administration is super tight with y'all. It's almost like a government, they're the lobbyist. And they tell you what to think, what to do, and y'all don't want anything to do with the parents. Y'all make it impossible for us to contact you. You send us off into this other loop. Oh, well, you have to go through the policies. You have all these policies to keep us away from you because y'all don't want to know what we think. And even when we bring forward good ideas, no, we don't want computer-aided design at that school. We don't want it there. We only want it where we want it. You're supposed to represent the kids and the parents, not the administration. But y'all spend all your time at conferences and at dinners and at functions with the administration, and so they can do nothing wrong. There will be no accountability for them because they're your friends and they're who you care about. I wish you would take that same attitude with the teachers, the kids, and the parents.
Thank you, Mr. Passetti. So no one has signed up for public comments for topics on the agenda of this meeting, so we're going to go ahead and move forward with our reports. First is a construction update from Mr. Henry.
Thank you all for having us here tonight. Tonight I'm going to bring up Jeff Reed from Park Hill Architects to talk about our projects at Fannin and McGill.
Good evening, Dr. Detloff, Dr. Kingman, Board of Trustees. Just a quick update as to where we're at on the construction with McGill and Fannin Elementary. On that, I'll advance the slide a little bit. About every 2 weeks, we're having OAC meetings, which is owner, architect, and contractor on that. Some of that's done virtually, some of that's done on site. With it, building pad at McGill, even when y'all saw the groundbreaking ceremonies, that was pretty much done in place, up to grade on that as well. On that, the corners of the buildings are being set, getting ready to start laying out. They set out those batter boards, and then they'll start laying out lines and start looking where the foundations are going to be and start roughing and plumbing also. And then submittals as well. That's what we look at from all of the parts and pieces of the building that come in that the contractor provides to the AE firm on that to review and go through those. So probably for the last 2 months, the staff has been looking probably 75 to 100 of those and even beyond on that as well. And then each week or each 2 weeks, we have a gentleman coming in that's making a site visit at each one of the sites and produces a site observation report as well on that. Then they've got materials that are being stored on site. So that's corner of the stakes are starting to lay out those batter boards that you see on it. A little bit of material that'll start stacking up there on site as well. So you'll start seeing more and more of that show up as we get going along. And once they start getting all the foundations put in and plumbing lines put in, then you'll at some point start seeing the steel members start rolling in there on that site for it as well on that. And then over at Fannin, again, they're processing submittals again on that as well, just like I mentioned with the staff review and all of those, the site observation going on with that. They do have trenches being dug over there with footings, and they probably have the rebar. They may have rebar going in by now since this is about a week old on that for it. They also did make a little change on one of their subcontractors over there. I think Justice realized that one of their subs wasn't going to be meeting schedule, and so they made a change on that as well to keep everything progressing along. And if you got any, that's quick and to the point on it. If you got any questions, be great to answer them for you.
We're going to be finished on time.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes. Yes. Fannin knows when the kids are coming in August on that for it. So.
All right. Any other questions? Thank you for being here. I know you're going both those sites in the morning, so I appreciate it. Right. Thank you. Jason, do we have any other on the construction update this evening? No. Thank you. Next, we have our student enrollment report for the 6th Monday of school, which is September 25th, 2023. We were at a total of 13,194 students, up from what we budgeted for, but down from last year end. Just something we have to look at as a board is that, as you know, we're proud of each campus and everything that's going on all those campuses. But as we are looking at staffing and programs, the disparity in the sizes of our campuses is something we're going to have to address as a board in order to make sure that we each campus we're able to give every program we want to give at each campus, whether that's our bilingual or our GT or STEM or whatever it is. Obviously, the fact that we want to do everything at each campus, but we got to make sure that we have to figure out how to staff it and do things. And so that's something as a board we need to be looking at over the next couple months. After that, we're going to get an update on academic programs from Dr. Gomez.
Absolutely. And we can do the academic report now, or do we want to look at the Goodfellow? Just because we have visitors?
Let's do the Goodfellow since they're here.
Yes.
I appreciate that. Yeah, let's do the partnership with Goodfellow. Thank you. I should have moved that up.
We're going to continue some of our celebrations by celebrating some of our TEA Purple Star designation campuses. So if our leaders of those campuses would please join me, as well as the cadets. So tonight, we celebrate 3 of our campuses who received the distinct honor of being named a Texas Education Agency Purple Star designation campus. The award recognizes schools that excel in meeting the needs of military-connected students and their families. Congratulations to Central High School, Glenn Middle School, and Glenmore Elementary for your dedication to our families at Goodfellow Air Force Base and the military community. San Angelo ISD is home to approximately 500 military-connected students and is honored to support the children of our military servicemen and women. These campuses work to provide extra support systems for our military-connected students, including military and family life counselors, professional development for staff, participation in Month of the Military Child in April, and programs connecting civilian students with newly enrolled military students to ease the transition of being the new kid at school. Together, they tour the campuses, eat lunch, and answer questions that come with moving to a new place. We have a representative from Goodfellow joining us as well, and she would like to say a few words. So I'd like to welcome Kristen Donaldson, our school liaison from Goodfellow Air Force Base.
I just have a little bit to say from Goodfellow. Purple Star schools are crucial to the success of the DoD's recruitment and retention initiatives to ensure a high-quality workforce that is ready to support, protect, and defend the nation's national security interests. These schools are committed to going above and beyond through a variety of educational opportunities in meeting the unique and often challenging needs of the military-connected students and their families. Researching schools is one of the very first actions most families take when they get those orders. And first and foremost, parents want to ensure that their children will be postured for educational success at their new duty location. Their heart's desire leads members to accept or even decline orders based on the educational opportunities that their children will have. Please know that Purple Star schools are direct contributors to making Goodfellow Air Force Base a base of choice for our joint service staff members and their families. Thank you for all the work you do to support our families and our students.
So a brief thank you to all of you for everything your campuses do to support our military-connected students. A round of applause for these campuses. Dr. Detloff, one more time.
All right, Dr. Gomez, now we're going to do an update on academic programs.
Yes, sir. So Dr. Kingman, Dr. Detloff, and members of the board, in SAISD, we have great accountability as leaders, as specifically outlined in our SAISD Fundamental 5 and our 3 Big Rocks. Last Friday, October 13th, completed the first quarter of the school year. So now that a quarter is complete, our campus supervisors will be meeting with each individual campus principal to go through what we refer to as our ABC review for attendance, behavior, and course performance. You heard us begin to speak of this last year. And so since we've completed, again, the first quarter of this year, we wanted to bring that back up. Also, this Wednesday, we will be working with campus leadership teams consisting of principals, assistant principals, potentially some counselors, instructional coaches, and at-risk coordinators as we go through the individual campus data as part of our leadership accountability. The first slide here, we want to give you some overall information. We spoke also this summer, the beginning of the school year, about attendance being a system response in SAISD. We know if students are not here, we can't give them the tools and the information necessary for their success. So at the end of the first quarter, our overall district attendance rate is 95.23%, as compared to the first quarter in the 22-23 school year of 94.47%. So we do have a slight increase there. Of our, all of our campuses, we have 18 campuses with an increase for the first quarter. Now, we want to be very transparent. The first quarter in the school year is not a quarter where we can see some difficulties in attendance. The quarter that we are starting is traditionally a quarter where we start to experience illnesses. And so that's why in our system response with campus leadership teams this upcoming Wednesday, we'll be talking further. It's another reason why we have to have our staff make sure they are taking care of themselves. We need them healthy and well. And tomorrow we have our first ever SAISD Staff Wellness Fair. And it's also the third quarter. So we're big believers in what is predictable is preventable. And we'll be talking about our system response and what we can do specifically to create engaging opportunities where students can be in our school buildings. Around behavior, I know that is small, so I want to talk about this data for you in a greater detail. This fall is the first time we have at all of our campuses data for what's referred to as a universal behavior screener. You oftentimes hear us talk about the academic side. We know that if we have students that need behavior support, that can prevent them from being their best on the academic side. So this fall, all of our campuses completed the universal screener around the school-wide expectations of be safe, be respectful, and be responsible. Teachers complete this for their students. You've heard us for a number of years as we work with Panorama to survey all of our stakeholders, from our students to our parents to our staff. That window's not closed yet. When it closes, we will be sharing that information. The difference between those surveys is on the behavior screener, staff are completing the screener. Whereas in the Panorama screener, students are giving us information on how they feel at school. So it's very important that we use multiple measures of data when we're looking at the overall school experience for our students. So around these data points, approximately 84% of our students are scoring at what you'll call a low. You can loosely equate that to, you have a sheet at your seats that talk about Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3. So for low, the students falling down that category, the basic structures, and supports in classrooms. That's what those students need to be successful on the behavior side. Then on the medium and the high, you can equate those to tier 2 and tier 3 loosely. Some other numbers to just give you some information there is the national average in the high area is 5%. So we are underneath that national average. But for SAISD in this first round of the screener, that's 391 students. So when you talk about 391 students needing behavior supports, those supports do take a lot from multiple staff members. You talk about medium supports beyond the basic supports of a regular classroom, 1,583 students. But for the low, that's 10,291 students approximately. So it's our responsibility and our charge to provide the structures and the supports for those students to be successful behaviorally, for their learning and for the learning of our other students as well. And then course performance, since we, again, the quarter just finished, as we work and as campus supervisors work with their campuses, they'll be asking further questions. Specifically, what do you notice about Tier 1 instruction? Again, Tier 1 is what are we doing in universal instruction for all of our students? Do we see any patterns? Do we see any opportunities within Tier 1 instruction? Do we see opportunities for extension? For example, SAISD elects to provide the extension opportunity at all 17 elementaries for STEM. That's above and beyond TA's requirement for STEM education. That's part of how we provide an extension. But these are the conversations we have. What do you notice about opportunities for Tier 2 and Tier 3 intervention? For students that are not showing they're on track for the grade level expectations with a Tier 1 universal instruction, and what resources are utilized for intervention and extension. So you all as a Board of Trustees, you've approved staffing for campus interventionist. That's where under the SAISD Big Rocks intentional scheduling comes in. When we look at course performance from the first quarter, do we have any student that came up as a surprise that's showing signals of needing more support? If so, how are we providing that student more support? And then specifically, under the Big Rocks, do they fall in a special subpopulation? Specifically for SAISD right now, around special education and emergent bilingual. If not, what are we doing to adjust schedules now that the second quarter has begun so that we can give those students the appropriate levels of support? And then I kind of already addressed for you how that hits the Big Rock of special populations. Are there courses or classes where there may be any regression or growth? Again, going back to our accountability as leaders, if we're seeing a pattern in individual classes, do we need to provide a staff member with additional support, with additional professional learning? Who is at risk for class or course performance failures? Do we know our students? And do we know what help they may need? These are the questions we ask down to the faces and the names of individual students. And then you have a 2-page sheet there for you. What's referred to, we know we love our acronyms in education, so this is referred to as the Multi-Tiered System of Support Process, or MTSS. This first sheet is an internal document for educators as they are having these internal evidence review meetings around attendance, behavior, and course performance. And then depending on the individual students, you can see the steps that are taken for Tier 1, for Tier 2, if they need additional supports, or Tier 3, the most extensive reports. But on the back, we want our parents, if they have a concern for their student who they feel needs extra help to thrive in school, to know what they need to do, to talk to their child, talk to their teacher, collaborate with the school on a plan, check their progress, help them at home, and so forth. So that's why it's a 2-page. The first page is your educator guide, and the second page is your parent guide. And again, MTSS is ongoing, but we have major checks for accountability at the end of each quarter. And then the last is kind of summary here as we finish this quarter and we are deep into the school year. It's just a reminder from our prior conversations that tomorrow is the first college readiness testing day for SAISD. And so our high school students will have opportunities for testing, and we are proud to announce that we have some students that are advancing in some UIL events, and those students will still have an opportunity to participate in the testing as well. And so that's just so you have those dates, because tomorrow is not the only date, as we have 2 other opportunities over the course of this school year. So I know that was a lot, kind of quickly, but I'm happy to answer any questions, and also any of our campus supervisors can also jump in if you have specific questions at this time.
Yes, Dr. Gomez and Dr. Kingman, thank you for that presentation and report. And I just want to highlight, Dr. Gomez, to extend a thanks to you and your team, because you guys have placed a structure around the best ways to assess learning, and you've developed a plan with checks and balances along the way, and I just appreciate the efforts that all of your team has made, our campus supervisors, to really assess learning in different modalities, and then also coming up with a structure and a plan to ensure that those checks and balances are being made. So thank you for that, and I think it was highlighted this evening even by our 28 students, I believe it was, that were recognized as national scholars, and I believe that's the most that we've had recognized on a national level. So I just appreciate that all the curriculum and instruction and you guys are doing in professional learning. We know what our needs are, but you have implemented a plan to get better academically for us, and to also, provide those extensions that are necessary for our kids that are ready to move forward at a quicker pace. So thank you to you and your team.
Hi, thank you for that presentation. I was wondering, you talked about the universal behavior screener and how the teachers complete that for the students. Can you just, talk about what that looks like? And then is that information just held in the schools, or is it used for anything else?
So absolutely. Again, let me backtrack. Ms. Mazel-Flant, this past spring, we had just a few campuses. So this fall is the first time all of our campuses have completed this. And Wednesday will be our first deep dive with campus leadership on the data. Really looking and seeing, do we see trends? I think that's very important when you talk about behavior specifically, because there are certain areas on a campus, like our major behavior struggles around Be Safe, for example, happening around a certain area of the campus. If so, what are our structures to make this a safe place on our campus? There's a difference between individual or lower occurrences versus patterns that show we have a structural issue that our system needs to have a response for. So we will just be beginning those conversations. In regards to this going anywhere, it's internal. What will be super important, though, is connecting this information with the students' perception of how they feel at school as well. And that's where campus leadership, especially campus counselors, will have information for social emotional well-being for students. If a student does not have a good outlook or self-efficacy, they don't have great belief in their ability to do things, there are ways that we need to push in and provide support. So it's important to take that teacher evaluation, but also the student evaluation, and again, look for patterns and trends.
Thank you very much.
Any other board questions?
Yes.
I just want to clarify. So we have 3 tiers, okay? And a student, depending on the concept, could be in tier 1 and then when the concept changes, could slip to tier 2. So that the tiers are very fluid with the child. And I want to really, speak to the parents right now that a teacher in middle school, high school, and elementary, but middle school and high school may have 120 students. That's a lot to monitor, a lot to balance. In a classroom of 30, they could have, 10 on in tier 1, some maybe in a behavior tier, some that need extension. So the teachers are doing a great job of juggling all of that. But as a parent, if there's ever a time that you feel your child isn't getting what they need, I've had a couple of parents reach out to me this week and have encouraged them to call the teacher, and they did, and those conversations went amazing. So just remember that we are a team, all of us, the parent, the student, and the teacher. Communication is important, and it's a lot to do, but they're doing a great job because every day brings a new day.
Mrs. Duncan, I completely agree, and think the gratitude goes to our classroom teachers and those interventionists who have rooms and in secondary level sections where students are coming at all different levels, and to differentiate and meet those needs is a very large task.
Mm-hmm.
Again, thank you, Dr. Gomez. Thank you to your team, and obviously our teachers who are doing the groundwork on all of this. Are we seeing certain areas where our tier 2, tier 3 is it secondary, elementary, where we don't have enough support currently? I mean, are we seeing areas that, we thought we had enough support at a secondary campus and we don't have it, and are we staffing appropriately for that?
So those are very great questions, Dr. Kingman, and further questions that we'll have as we dig deeper. But I want to give an example, since it's the first time we have district-wide universal behavior information. We talked previously when we had beginning of year assessment screening data, specifically about kindergarten, and the importance of students entering our system as early as possible. Also, the reason why we expanded pre-K opportunities for those that did not meet the regular eligibility criteria. So, district-wide, kindergarten had the lowest percentage of students in the low category, meaning students in the behavior side. Kindergartners were scoring higher at the medium and high. So just the structures of how you're safe, respectful, and responsible in school. Now, obviously, this was in September. So for some of those students who had never been in a school setting, it was their first experience. But we were seeing a greater need at the lower grades. Also, Ms. Duncan has experienced this firsthand, our freshmen. So from that transition from out of the middle schools into the high school, for the high school, the freshman class was the highest group coming in with the highest percentage in the medium and high category, or what you could loosely connect to tier 2 and tier 3 for additional behavior supports.
Sorry, one more question, and you may not have this information as we just got it. Are campuses that have a pre-K level, pre-K connected with them, were their kindergartners was there a different percentage of tier 1 in those kids?
We would have to go back. That is something we could go back and differentiate, since the pre-K programs are not on the same campuses. Right. So you could look at data that way. One thing with the pre-K programs, though, since that's not a home campus program, it's hard to make that comparison. You would have to track individual students and the age in which they entered. I will also say, that special education is a big rock for our district. It was the highest subpopulation for needed behavior supports.
Well, obviously there's going to be, anytime it's the first year in a program, figuring out how to use the data effectively is a challenge in making sure that we are following up on the program we've put in place so that we actually do use the data effectively, I think is important as we move forward, so that our teachers and our parents realize that, okay, yeah, we have this data and we're using it now to try and make changes in staffing and figuring out, okay, look, this is where we're having difficulty. We're having to teach kindergartners how to stand in a line, which if only 14% are on grade level when they get to kindergarten, we're going to have to figure out ways to speed up that process so that we gain valuable time there when they're in our district.
I agree. So as you see the overall results not broken down into subpopulations, but you see the overall at 84%, just to give you the comparison, special education, its low was at 74%, where your other subpopulations began in the 80s and went through the 90s. And also going back to using the data, that's part of our leadership accountability and making sure that we're not just continuing things the way they've been done, because that's the way they've been done. If we know that a greater number of students don't have structured experiences before coming to our school settings, maybe the way we offer summer programs looks different. Maybe then we have a Jump Start program for students entering kindergarten or entering pre-K, and we serve at the beginning instead of at the end of the year. There's just other ways to innovate outside the box and think differently based on the data that you do have, and as part of your response for your leadership accountability.
Well, thank you, Dr. Gomez. Does anyone have any further questions for Dr. Gomez? All right. So we're going to move into our agenda items for this evening. We're going to start with consent items. Just want to point out we had a pretty sizable donation from Chick-fil-A, and so I just wanted to point that out and thank Chick-fil-A for that donation. Then we have consent items A through G. I'll make sure that but I don't think we, unless I missed it, we don't have a G though, do we? Yeah, we did on it. There were no G. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. So A through F, because there's no. So A is consider donations. B is consider approval of CDA local investment policy for SASD. C is consider approval of authorized lists of investment training providers. D is consider approval of authorized list of investment brokers/dealers. E is consider board policy update CKEC local and EIC local. F is consider local board policy updates on District of Innovation. Any board comments on consent items A through F? Obviously, we discussed all of these last week. All right, do I have a motion for consent items A through F?
I'll make a motion to approve consent items A through F.
And do I have a second? So I have a motion from Mr. Gallegos and a second from Mrs. Duncan on consent items A through F. Any board comment? Okay. All in favor say aye. Aye. All against say the same. Motion passes 7-0. All right, so now we have consider bills, accounts, and financial statements for September of 2023. Any board comment?
Dr. Kingman, all of these reports were reviewed last week in a pre-agenda meeting. And also, all of this information that we have reviewed has been found online at the SISD.org website under a tab marked Financial Transparency. And with that, I'll move to approve bills, accounts, and financial statements for September 23.
So I have a motion from Mr. Dindal. Do I have a second? Second. And a second from Ms. Mizell Flint. Any board comment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All against say the same. Motion passes 7-0. Now we have number 11, consider approval of the consider approval of the annual portfolio report ending August 31st, 2023. Any board comment?
Again, Dr. Kingman, we reviewed this last week in a pretty detailed manner. And with that, I'd move to approve that motion.
So I have a motion from Mr. Dindal and do I have a second?
Second.
A second from Mr. Gallegos. Just one interesting thing as far as our annual portfolio. I think, I don't want to lie about the number, but just our interest earned for fiscal year ending in 2023 was
$75,668,000.
that was the overall value, but interest earned was
Yeah.
3.3 million compared to
Yeah.
440,000 last year, and that's
Previous,
just obviously related to interest rates and but I just want to point that out, that our financial folks are doing a good job of investing that and making sure that we are gaining benefit from the higher interest rates, although it's not always a benefit for everyone, but for the district's budget. All right, so I had a motion from Mr. Dindal and a second from Mr. Gallegos. Any further board comment? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against, say the same. Motion passes 7-0. So now we have consider bid number 23-025, and that is a data cabling bid. And Mr. Henry's going to come up and talk to us.
Thank you for having me. Tonight I bring forward bid 23-025, data cabling and AV installation. Each year we have a need for a variety of new cable drops in various locations around the district. These may include computer network drops, telephone drops, cable video drops, and others. We also have seen an increase in the number of AV installations, mostly TVs, throughout the district. With the assistance of the technology department, specifications were created for the addition of data cabling and audio-visual installations. Requests were sent to 14 companies who provide this type of work. Bids were opened, and the only response received was from the incumbent Elite Solutions. They held their price firm. At this time, the administration recommends awarding Elite Solutions all data cabling items and no awarding the AV installation portion. Are there any questions? Like TVs and projectors. That over the last couple years, as we continue to remove projectors and add TVs, our biggest issue is having somebody to hang them up and get them up in a timely fashion. And that we were trying to correct that by bringing in a contractor and getting a good firm price on how much would it cost to put a TV right here, run the electrical, hang it, and everything. And Elite Solutions, they don't do electrical. They don't do the electrical side. The way that we broke this up is we had it to where we could award it either direction, either all of it to one vendor or half of it to one vendor and half of it to another, in the hopes that we would get an electrical vendor that could also install TVs. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, so we'll have to use other means to accomplish that.
For someone to come install them?
We can do it that way. We had talked about possibly doing some quotes using our trades bid, because we do have vendors on the trades bid. We'd just have to go out and get numerous quotes repetitively. This was just hoping to make it a little streamlined, a little more efficient.
Any further questions for Mr. Henry about the data cabling with Elite Solutions? And it's just a one-year deal, it looks like.
Yes, it's a 1 year with the option to renew.
Mr. Henry, were there additional bidders? Just Elite?
It was just Elite Solutions that bid on it.
And the other 13 companies were local, or?
Some of them were local, some of them weren't. I know I reached, during the process of getting companies together, several of them that I called were concerned about volume. And I told them, I said, I'm going to go ahead and send you this bid anyway so you can look at it. And their biggest concern was making sure they could service us properly with the amount of work that they already had on their plate.
All right. Any further board question? It's time to take your medicine.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Sorry.
Sorry about that.
Any further board comment on the data cabling bid? Any questions? All right. Do I have a motion regarding the data cabling bid?
Make a motion to approve the administration's recommendation of awarding Elite Solutions all data cabling items and no awarding of the AV installation.
Do I have a second? So I have a motion from Mr. Gallegos and a second from Dr. Mills. Any further board comment? All in favor say aye. Aye. All against say the same. Motion passes 7-0. All right, so now we have consider purchase of school buses, and Dr. Brandon's going to come up and talk to us about that.
Dr. Detloff, Dr. Kingman, Board of Trustees, we appreciate the opportunity this evening to add to the agenda the discussion for the purchase of buses. Mr. Garcia, come up. Mr. Garcia has now interim director for transportation. Took a little time, right, to get in and be able to review and go through that, and so he had that data ready on Tuesday. So we just missed it, but he now has it, and so he's going to talk through that a little bit and see if you have any questions as he's kind of reviewed the fleet and as a whole and what our needs are.
While you're coming up, Mr. Garcia, I just want to thank you for stepping in and helping us out, so I really appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And Mr. Garcia, just as a point of reference, what was your previous tenure with the school district?
I'm sorry?
Before we brought you back, what was your previous tenure? How long had you been with the school district before?
I served 38 years with the district, all in transportation. We're going to go a little bit over history. Basically, what we had done over the years was purchase 6 buses per year to maintain our fleet. And looking at the history, it looks like maybe from 21 to 23, those numbers dropped. So that's why we came up with the number of 9 buses. Unfortunately, I think COVID has caused some other problems for us in that we're having trouble getting our buses here on time. It appears that we ordered some in January of this year, and we are yet to receive them. After talking to the bus manufacturers, they can't give us a firm date. They're partially finished, but they're still waiting on parts. So they're kind of sitting outside the factory waiting for those parts to arrive. Once those parts arrive, they'll bring them back in and put them back together for us. And that's just the first phase. From there, they get shipped to Lubbock, and in Lubbock, they install air conditioners, radios, camera systems, all that's done off-site. So that's another little delay. So that's why the doctor and I had discussed we probably need to get busy and increase the numbers to try to get our fleet back up to speed. In addition to the delays of getting these buses here, we were also what I call a double whammy. Because they were short of bus drivers for so long, the mechanics were asked to get out there and drive routes, morning, midday, and afternoon. So what happens is they're not turning wrenches. They're not working on the fleet. And so as time went, the fleet got further and further behind as far as maintenance was concerned. Now, during the summer, this summer, we jumped in there, including myself, and we brought them back up where they needed to be. But we're still behind. So we contracted with vendors, asked them to help us, the truck shops here in town, and what they did, they stepped up, and they got us back where we needed to be. But once again, we're still behind. So that's why we need the extra buses.
How about on drivers, Roger? How's that coming along?
It's coming out, it's actually pretty good. We're still a few short.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it takes time to train them, certify them, and get them ready. But we have 4 in class now. They've done their written portion. Now they're doing behind the wheel. So hopefully we'll get them ready within the month.
Okay.
And that'll help fill some of those gaps.
Okay. Are your mechanics still driving, or?
Yes.
They are?
But we did hire some mechanics. We lost 4 before the summer, I understand, and we brought back 2.
Okay.
So that's helped us a little bit as well.
Thank you.
Mr. Garcia, I know that we've fallen behind slightly because of the pandemic, because we didn't know in a virtual / on-site environment, we really didn't know how many buses we were going to need for a year or two. So
Yeah.
now that we're on the back side of that, we got all these kids back into school, then we obviously have to move the needle to keep our fleet in a working condition before.
I agree.
So I know that the lead time has gotten out there pretty far, but it's just a must that we keep our fleet in a rotation of about 6 buses a year.
Yes, sir.
We've talked about this for the last few years. We have the opportunity to do that and catch it up now, even though these buses, we probably won't see them till for a year. But it gives
We're a
us
year behind.
Yeah, it gives us the opportunity to move that needle forward and get our students in a more reliable fleet as we move forward. And thanks for returning for after a short
You're
hiatus to help us out of this crunch. We appreciate
No
your
problem.
expertise of lots of years being in the trenches and not only being on the back line, but on the front line of all the ins and outs of transportation. So I appreciate you bringing that knowledge back to the district for a season. Thanks.
And Mr. Garcia, as far as, so we approved 9 buses this year.
Yes, sir.
Does that get us back to 6 next year, or are we at 9 probably next year as well?
You're looking at 9 next year as well.
Okay.
And then you'll be back on
To 6.
to six every year. Unless, of course, I understand there's some boundaries being discussed, some school closures, things like that. So anytime you do things like that, it impacts transportation, of course, because now you have additional students that are going to be meeting that 2-mile threshold. So those are things that'll be discussed as time goes. But yes, if everything stays the same, 6 after next year.
And we would expect that, I mean, obviously with Alta Loma and Fannin and with McGill and Austin, that we would increase our ridership, but also would, when you talk to the bus companies, we're expecting a year on delivery of these buses?
They keep telling me that that the process is speeding up. They're starting to move. They're starting to see the buses come through faster.
Okay.
Of course, seeing is believing. I want to see them here first before you tell me they're going to speed up. So,
Yeah. So I remember at one point we bought some very small buses because we couldn't get a bus at all.
Yeah.
And we bought like 15 passenger buses to try and get us up. So, but at least they're letting us order them again. So that's a positive,
Yes.
I guess. So thank you again. Any other board questions?
No, that's what I was going to ask. If they've let you know when you speak to them, the manufacturer's like, look, we know we're behind, blah, 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 all this and that, but we're planning on catching up with everything by this certain time. Have they let you know that, or they just say it's getting faster?
it's getting faster. I guess they're starting to see them come out.
The parts are coming in for them now?
Yes.
More quickly, okay.
It's a first come, first serve. Whoever gets their orders in first, they're going to get their buses first. But he's starting to see some movement in that direction.
Good.
And so we would, and just for, so this would be coming out of fund balance, just for board, we have over roughly 5-6 million in uncommitted fund balance after we look at 3 months of operating expenses and the committed fund balance. So we roughly have 75 million in, before 58. Give me the
Correct.
numbers.
We had that set at from about 2 months ago when we looked at that at 65 million. And then our projects at 22 million on the builds, and then the 3 months of 30 million in the bank, and then our committed balances. But what we see now after the kind of the 13th month adjustments as we begin to pay the POs that were left, and then roll over any ESSER funding that was left, we could see that grow to 71 million. So we do feel like we'll add 6 million at this point as a conservative. And so we see that as being in a good spot, even though that these will honestly may not come in for this school year, but we'll roll that amount forward. but certainly in a good spot as far as looking at the purchase for the buses out of the general fund.
And as we look forward to next year, from a budgeting perspective, I think, maybe if we need 3 buses to come out of fund balance next year, but from future, we need 6 buses in our budget that gets brought to us, if 6 is the number. I mean, if the lines change and ridership changes, all sorts of things, but if 6 is the number, that needs to be in the budget, and we need to, we have to make sure that we're maintaining our fleet and maintaining the parts of the school that getting kids to and from school safely and all of those things. So, while we're catching up, it's great to use fund balance. And we're glad that we are a fiscally conservative district and have that fund balance. But long term, we need to make sure that we're budgeting for maintenance of our fleet. At least that's what I think. All right, so any other board questions for Mr. Garcia? Board comments? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. So do I have a motion regarding the 9 buses from Blue Star?
Dr. Kimon, I'd recommend that we buy 9 school buses from Blue Star Bus Sales. The recommendation is to include 5 72-passenger buses, 2 47-passenger special education buses, and 2 48-passenger special education buses. All these buses are Type C buses with gasoline engines, and the special education buses have wheelchair lifts on them. The total buy board purchase price for all of the 9 buses is $1,376,715.
So I have a motion from Mr. Dindal. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
A second from Mrs. Arroyo. And
I need to turn my microphone on.
so a motion from Mr. Dindal and a second from Mr. Arroyo. Any further board comment?
Dr. Keeman, I know we've been working on this process for a while, and we've known that we had an aging bus fleet, and so now we're going to put us in a better place going forward, especially since we found the extra money in our fund balance that we have the opportunity to do that, to upgrade our fleet even further, because we're counting on our buses actually now lasting about 12 years, which is a testament to the transportation department to keep them running for 12 years, somewhere around 250,000 miles before we retire them. So that's our expectation of a bus right now, and we've got to stay within those requirements to just keep our bus fleet, again, as dependable as we can to serve the needs of our students.
All right, so we had a motion from Mr. Dindal and a second from Mrs. Arroyo. All in favor say aye. Aye. All against say the same. Motion passes 7-0. I'm going to go ahead and do our announcements. We have a finance pre-agenda workshop on November 6th, 2023 at 5:45 p.m. and a regular board meeting November 13th at 5:45. We do need to go into executive session quickly, and we're going to do that under personnel, which is 551.074. We'll be right back. We have returned from executive session. We took no action, we took no votes, and we have already done our announcements. So thank you all for being here. We're adjourned.